Welcome to The Explainer. It feels like if you blink, your entire AI toolkit is already out of date. Seriously. So today, we're going to dive into 5 huge updates that are changing the game for how we all work and create.
I mean, it's basically a full-time job just trying to keep up with all the latest AI stuff, right? Well, that's where we come in. We've done the heavy lifting for you and picked out the updates that are actually going to make a difference in your day-to-day and, maybe even spark some new ideas.
And listen, we are not talking about some minor bug fixes or little tweaks. Nope. These are 5 major, game-changing updates from the big players. We're talking Google, Claude, OpenAI, and the best part? You can literally start using them as soon as we're done here.
All right, first up, let's talk about Google. Notebook LM has this wild new feature that honestly feels a bit like magic. It can take a video, and turn it into a full-blown, beautiful presentation with just a few clicks. It's pretty amazing.
And what's so cool about this is how simple it is. I mean, think about the old way. You'd have to sit there, transcribe a video, pull out key points, build slides from scratch. It's a total pain. Now, you just drop in a YouTube link, pick a format and a style you like, and boom, it does all that tedious work for you.
And this is where it gets really fun, because you're not just getting some boring text-only summary. No, you're getting a completely designed presentation with its own unique vibe. Like you could take a super dry corporate training video and turn it into something that looks like an anime. How cool is that? The possibilities are just out there.
Okay, but let's be real for a second. No new tech is ever perfect right away, and Notebook LM is no exception. As you can see from the quote here, it's still got some kinks to iron out. It seems to struggle a bit when it's trying to render text in other languages, like Chinese, inside the images it generates. So, something to keep in mind.
Okay, next up, we're shifting from creating content to collaborating on it. And this one is all about workflow. Gemini is now living inside Google Docs, so it's not some separate thing you have to bounce back and forth to anymore. It's right there where you're working.
And you might think, okay, that's a nice little time saver. But it's so much more than that. The real magic here is about focus. You know that feeling when you're in the zone? The old way, copying, pasting, switching tabs, just shatters that. This new way lets you stay right there in that creative flow without ever having to leave your document. So, there is a little catch right now. The feature officially works best with an English interface, but there's a really smart workaround. It's clever enough to look at your entire document for context. So even if you type a prompt in English, it can understand and write back in another language, like Chinese, because it gets what the rest of the doc is about. And it gets even better with this thing called gems. So think of gems like your own custom AI recipes. Let's say you always have to summarize meeting notes in a very specific way. Instead of writing that long prompt every single time, you just create a gem for it. Then, it's just one click, and bam, Gemini spits out exactly what you need, perfectly formatted, right there in your doc. Okay, this next one is a huge deal. So far, we've been talking about AIs that are getting smarter on their own. Now we're going to talk about an AI that you can make smarter. We're talking about Anthropic's Claude, and this is a revolutionary shift. It's going from just a tool you use to an AI you can actually teach. And this is where it gets really, really cool. Claude now has this feature called Skills, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You can basically give it new superpowers. You just upload a set of instructions and you can teach it to do these really complex things like, I don't know, take a huge boring PDF report and turn it into a punchy slide deck. Now, using pre-made skills is awesome, for sure. But what happens when you have a really specific need? A unique task that nobody has ever made a skill for? Well, that's when things go from cool to absolutely mind-blowing. Get this. You just ask Claude to build the skill for you. I'm not kidding. You describe what you want right there in the chat, and Claude will write the code, package it all up, and hand you a file to upload. It's like having a programmer sitting right next to you, ready to build whatever you can dream up. And there's actually a name for this new way of working. It's called vibe coding, which is just a perfect name for it. It's a total game changer because you stop worrying about the nitty-gritty code. You just describe the vibe, You say, hey, I need something that reads customer reviews and pulls out the super positive ones. And the AI just figures out how to do it. All right, so we've seen AI get more integrated and more customizable. Now for our last section, AIs are starting to reach out and connect to the rest of the world. ChatGPT and Perplexity are basically breaking out of the chat window and plugging into the other apps you already use. And both of these updates are really about building bridges to other services. So with ChatGPT, you have got these new connectors.
You can just type the @ and pull in stuff from other apps like Booking.com or Canva, turning the chat into a kind of mission control. And then you have Perplexity, which finally added its own image generation, filling a huge hole in its toolkit and making it way more versatile.
And what's really nice about Perplexity's new image tool is the choice it gives you. You're not stuck with just one art style. You can actually flip between different models, like DALL-E 3 or SDXL, to get just the right look. Plus, and this is a big one, it can be a great way to get around those pesky usage limits you might run into on other sites.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a minute. We've just covered a ton of ground. What does all of this actually mean? When you put it all together, what does our upgraded AI toolbox really look like, and how should we be thinking about it?
Well, if you look at everything we just talked about, it really boils down to 3 big trends. First, you've got deeper integration. AI is moving inside the tools we use every day. Second, there's radical customization. We can actually teach and shape our AI now. And third, we're seeing powerful connectivity. AI is plugging into everything else to get more done. And that leaves us with one last big question. As these tools stop being just calculators and start becoming genuine co-pilots, what's the most important skill for us to have? And you know, it might not be coding or even prompt engineering. It might just be learning how to ask really, really good questions. In this new world, curiosity might just be the most valuable currency we have.